everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where you boys always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle. And today, guys, we got an update this morning about Roki Sasaki and how the Blue Jays are pushing very hard to go and obtain him this free agency. This is a very good update because we know the Blue Jays are desperate for free agents, especially the caliber like Roki Sasaki. We're going to talk about the latest update and whether we think the Blue Jays are going to get him or not. Before we get into it, guys, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Blue Jays Today. We were live last night talking about Roki Sasaki and, you know, the latest updates about him visiting Toronto, visiting the Dodgers, and visiting the Padres. And right now, today as well, is the first day that Roki Sasaki's window is opening. It's right now, January 15th, and it will be open to January 23rd. So between that time, we're going to find out if Roki Sasaki is going to be a Toronto Blue Jay.
Dude, I actually love this because, you know, with all these other different free agents, you know, Santander and, you know, various other guys, like when we were watching for Soto, when we were watching for Ohtani, there was never actually a hard deadline. Like, you always thought that it would be like, oh, well, we think he's going to sign by then, but, you know, maybe they don't, right? There is actually a hard deadline for Roki Sasaki. So when I say that he is going to sign by January 23rd, I'm telling you the truth, because if he wants to play at MLB, that is the time that he has to sign by, and the Toronto Blue Jays know this, and that is why they are going all in for him right now. Hector Gomez tweeted this out 9 hours ago, saying that the Toronto Blue Jays, they are pushing the hardest for Roki Sasaki. Now, he goes on to talk about some of their reasoning behind that, and I think that we can all agree with this, saying that the Jays executives, they are aware that if they sign the promising Japanese pitcher, they will vindicate themselves about their fans who have expressed frustration as top players continue to sign elsewhere. Now, we're going to talk about the chances of Roki coming here. We're going to talk about what he would mean for this ball team, and trust me, it would mean a lot. But let's just start off with that.
Yeah.
If they actually go out and they do manage to convince Roki to come here instead of going to the Dodgers, instead of going to the Padres, does that vindicate, you know, like, does that save Ross Atkins in your opinion? How do you feel about all that?
I wouldn't say it necessarily vindicates him because you got to still win this upcoming season, right? You've put yourself in this roster and this franchise into a hole right now where you only won 74 games, you let guys walk, you missed out on big free agent pitchers and position players, and you're looking at a roster right now that's completely depleted. So, like, say getting Roki Sasaki isn't going to save your entire franchise. However, I will say it adds a positive, you know, mark to your resume of maybe a reason why you would stay, because if you get him, you sign back Vlad, you win next year, you know, let's say you go on a deep playoff run, the deepest you've ever gone in your tenure as a Blue Jays general manager, then okay, well, yeah, I guess that's the first step, but it doesn't vindicate it. It definitely makes me feel a lot better about this upcoming season, but doesn't make me change how I feel about you.
I get that. No, I do get that. I think, honestly, like, where Hector Gomez is coming from and where a lot of fans are coming from is, we got to win one of these one time, right? Seriously,
right,
you're finalists for every single goddamn big-time free agent. One of these times, we got to get it across the finish line. You know, and credit where credit is due, they are always in the mix, but in the last 2 years, we've been finding that, you know, we're just falling up that much shorter than those other teams. So in that regard, I guess it would instill me with confidence once again that it's like, okay, actually, we're not cursed, you know, like, people, like, we can actually go out and sign people. It is possible, because recently it's felt like, you know, we're losing out on everything. So in that regard, that would be great. Now, what Roki Sasaki would mean to this team, I mean, like, the guy's incredible. He's 23 years old right now, just turned 23 a couple months back, and like, what he's done in Japan is truly insane. This is against other professional baseball players, and we're talking about somebody that's got a career 2.02 ERA over there in the NPB. If you were to bring Roki onto this ball team, or just into the MLB, actually, like, if you look at it, you got to look at it this way. He would immediately become the #1 overall prospect in all of baseball.
Favorite for Rookie of the Year, 100%. For Rookie,
by like a wide margin. You know, it's legitimately like you are immediately signing a Paul Skeens onto your roster, and you have him for cheap for 6 years.
Yeah, and what's very good about Roki Sasaki is that he actually has some experience playing at a high level, right?
Yeah.
This isn't a guy that, you know, is a young rookie that
needs straight out of college.
college or high school that needs development. No, he's 23 years old, and he already throws 100 miles per hour, and he's been doing it consistently at the NPB. Now, I think that's what makes us a little bit different in this kind of race for Sasaki, where, let's say if this was an 18-year-old prospect, well, let's say he was an 18-year-old prospect and he had the choice between the Dodgers, Padres, or Blue Jays. Well, I might not want to go to the Blue Jays because they're not very good at developing guys. However, it's not about development anymore. It's about honing your craft at the big league level. And what has Pete Walker and the Blue Jays done for years now? Look at Kevin Gausman, Barrios, Chris Bassett, granted older veteran guys, but they have honed their craft and stayed consistent and healthy at the big league level. So for the Blue Jays, kind of leading into the conversation of like, well, is it likely for us to get him? I think it is more likely than not, because if you look at that, you can make a really solid pitch to him. If I'm the Blue Jays front office, like, we can help you and hone your craft. We're doing it with Yariel Rodriguez right now. Not so much success right now, but we're doing it with him. We've done it with other guys. We can certainly do it with you.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same. You said more likely than not. Now, I assume that, the Dodgers and the Padres for you are still more likely than us.
I'm talking about more likely than not if it was versus the 18-year-old prospect or some guy that hasn't had development.
Yeah, and I do hear that, man. Ultimately, you gotta hope that Roki walking into this thing, he's got to have a checklist. And it's got to be a little unique from the standard other individual, right? Because if on that checklist is win a World Series in the next 3 years, sorry, guys, we are out, and you are going to see him go over to the Dodgers and maybe even convince himself on the Padres because, they're a pretty good ball team too. But there's been a lot of speculation about the type of person and the type of character that Roki has. Now, I do want to be very clear. This is speculation, I don't know him. Buster Only, who's tweeting this out, I mean, he knows him better than I do, but I don't think that he knows him on a deep personal level. He's come out and speculated that, just effectively in his interviews, he's appeared as a very, quiet, very serious individual, and because of those reasons, he might not necessarily want to go to a team that is, the big, big market squad, big market LA squad, or alternatively, he might want to be, in the mix of a bunch of established stars.
So it's kind of counterintuitive there.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't take that much away from what Buster Olney is saying right here. I mean, Buster Olney's a great reporter, but, in this instance, I don't take that much away from it. I do think, though, that the speculation on his character, the reason why so many people are speculating on what type of guy he is, because money's not a factor, right? And depending on how he views things, do you want to be the center of attention? Because if you do actually want to be the center of attention, well, I could make an argument that coming to the Toronto Blue Jays might actually be beneficial for you. Because if you go over to the LA Dodgers, you might get forgotten about with Ohtani and, with those other guys. Now, granted, you'll probably go deeper in the postseason, and because of that, you might get more media coverage. But, maybe you might want to come here for that reason, right? Do you want to be a little bit different? Do you want to go to a completely other country and have that whole country behind you, right? There's a couple different reasons that he might want to come here, and I think that's why you're seeing all this different speculation on what type of guy he is. Is because the money isn't a factor right now, and it really is just what are you looking to get out of this in your first contract in MLB?
Yeah. Hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content. And it's a great position that he's in. Do you want to be in a big market team, and what I've been saying is, do you want to develop? Because for me, again, I am also speculating right now too with the whole pitch of the Blue Jays developing you as a starting pitcher. If I was him, I would want to develop into a major league starting pitcher. Which team could help me with that? Because I am not getting paid right now. By the end of my 6-year contract, I would like to get paid. So how can I get there and be the best pitcher could possibly be to then get the bag? Right. That's at least from my perspective. But again, I'm also speculating. And then to comment on Buster Olney's thing, yeah, I mean, we really don't know what exactly he wants.
Well, I'll tell you right now, that right there, what you just brought up, that's the selling point. And I think that's ultimately what the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Toronto Blue Jays have been trying to sell him on is hey, listen, we are going to turn you into the great, into maybe one of the best MLB pitchers that we've ever seen. Because you have the tools to do it. We know what we know. We're going to help you become all of that. And then when you do inevitably end up hitting free agency 6 years later, you're going to get the bag because we helped you do it, right? So that's the pitch. And clearly, the Toronto Blue Jays are pushing the hardest to do it. Now, we do need to just bring up the fact that the LA Dodgers did have a meeting with him yesterday.
Right.
Apparently, there was several different other players that came to that meeting. I would anticipate that Yoshinobu Yamamoto was probably one of them. Shohei Ohtani
100%.
could have probably been another one, right? Like, this all checks the boxes and makes sense to me. So they had their meeting, which was effectively their second kick at the can to convince this guy. I would not be shocked if in the next couple days you hear something about the Toronto Blue Jays having a second meeting, because if they're gonna do it, we got to do it.
And honestly, if we just like simplify things, if you're in a room with the Dodgers, you're on the West Coast, surrounded by stars, you got Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto showing up to the meeting. How, as Roki, a young 23-year-old, how could you possibly say no to that or go somewhere else? But we don't know,
because Ross Atkins is pushing the hardest right now. And he is coming with a pitch.
You better hope it's a pretty darn good pitch. I do want to throw one more comment in here, because a lot of speculation was going on about whether he was actually at in San Diego in a Padres uniform warming up. Another video came out. I wish I had it for y'all. Yeah, it was him. There was a close-up version of him in those yellow shorts. It was him. He was there. We can end the speculation now. He was with the San Diego Padres. So he's with everybody right now.
So he is doing his due diligence. However, point being, Toronto Blue Jays, they are going hard in the paint for Roki, and we're going to find out what his decision is in the next week. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments down below about everything that we talked about today. Guys, hit that like, smash that subscribe button, folks. $3 a month, become a Patreon member. Shout out and thank you to all of our current Patreon members and our YouTube members. You guys are the best.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
go Jays, go!